I'd like to call to order the Emerald Park Landfill Standing Committee for January 8th, 2024 at 5:10 p.m. Would the secretary please read the roll?
Thank you. Abby Letke.
Present.
Patrick Murray.
Here.
Mark Slocum.
Here.
Scott Kolskowski.
Here.
Harvey Schweitzer.
Here.
Alderman Eileen Madden.
Here.
Greg Burmeister.
Here.
Roland Kiefer. GFL Environmental Representatives Daniel Oltenberger.
Here.
Chad Siegel.
Here.
Compliance Officer Joe Spear Jr.
Here.
And Recording Secretary Scott Krager. Based on the roll, we have a quorum present at this meeting. Statement of public notice. This meeting was properly noticed in accordance with the open meeting laws of the state of Wisconsin.
Thank you. Open forum. I do not see anyone here from the public.
I've got a comment though. A couple of the neighbors on 8 Mile have asked about the, I don't know if they're the security lights or the equipment lights that are lit every night. If there's any chance they could not shine directly down 8 Mile Road?
We can certainly look into that, yes.
Because that's kind of inconvenient to a couple of homes. It shines right in the house.
Okay. It's like free security lighting for them, huh?
For the whole neighborhood, yeah, half a mile.
I was surprised because it's on all night. I thought it would only be on when you guys are working, but it's on.
Okay, compliance officer report.
So I may not have the audit summarized and in, but I do have a summary for the quarter that I like to produce. And you will see right away that JSA failed to conduct an audit at the end of 2023. I was not able to get out to the site before I left town. So the week of the 17th is a missed audit.
Okay. Joe, I thought you normally hired someone to take.
I didn't expect to miss it. It was a mixture of health conditions and weather.
Okay, so
It was a surprise miss. It was truly a failed. I just couldn't get out there before I got on the plane.
Okay. Thank you.
It's the first time in 27 years, but now that I've said that, I can't do it again. The landfill's been operating between 19 and 2,100 tons. That's been pretty consistent. The working phase has moved forwards, and by forwards I mean north into phase 7 south and north instead of being in phase 7 southwest all the time, and is even now all the way up against the biopiles in phase 3. Things are relatively unchanged in terms of the gas and leachate management, other than there was a high-level alarm on the 26th. I spoke to the site management about it. It seems to be a communications issue, a lot having to do with floats, and they've made modifications that should prevent this particular occurrence from happening again. It's not that high levels won't happen again, but this particular alarm sequence won't go off. There's been some issues with the gas, and it usually is this time of year. It's either moisture or oxygen. I know last time I reported that the filter media had changed, and then really everything has stayed pretty balanced, except that as of 10/4, so October 4th, that was our first construction audit for 2023, and obviously it'll be an ongoing thing. We've had 9 construction audits from that point, so there's been one every time I've been out. And they're, as of last Wednesday, they weren't at yet 50%, but we decided that they were over 40. So it's excavation.
Excavation, you're talking.
Yeah, excavation percentage, not construction total. They did clearing and grubbing in the very beginning of October and then started out on excavation. And they were moving roughly 50,000 yards a day, but it's still a lot to place. And the significant impacts to the landfill that we see on a regular basis is the stockpiles, which pretty much fill any place they could find because of the amount of soil they have to relocate. They're also using it for cover when needed on outboard slopes. And I was talking with Scott earlier in the week and brought up the security fencing. And I believe in 2008, I missed it. I can't find the call out for any kind of boundary for the current new cell. So it'll be something to bring up the next time I'm out at the landfill.
Say that again. I didn't.
There's no call out for security fencing or any kind of access control on the drawings. And I really find it hard to believe that I and JW and Ann and the landfill management at the time didn't take a look and notice that there's no fencing called out around the new cell.
And you're referencing the drawings from when?
2008.
Okay. Are you done?
Yes, sorry.
Questions, comments?
I guess I'm curious, a while ago, and it's the reason they don't take liquid loads now, what is the moisture situation with the landfill? And that was a while ago, that was a big problem, and is that still existing, or?
Do you want?
I'm gonna pass it to Dan. They do have 2 leachate head wells that are not.
I mean, we still have a couple of head wells that indicate some high levels. But when I say high levels, the DNR requirement is a foot. And we've got one that's like barely over a foot and another one that's over 2 feet, not the 6, 8 and greater numbers that the site experienced years ago. So, I mean, we continue to operate, like I said, the sumps and the pumps in those side slope riser areas. We've got them on a communication system, so they're much more efficient than they were prior to that system being installed. So I think from an overall moisture standpoint, that site's a lot drier than it was, 6 years, 7 years ago.
What makes those particular wells continue to stay high?
I think what happens is the drainage blanket associated with the liner system around those sump areas become, I'll say, compromised over time. So they're not moving as much liquid as they historically would, shortly after construction. So I think it just takes more time for those areas to drain down.
Okay, when you say that, you're referring to the pea gravel on top of the line?
Yeah, it's a like a DOT number 1, number 2
Right.
stone. Yep.
So the only solution is going to be to try and just continue to pump?
That's pretty much it. We have pumps in a number of the gas wells as well in those areas, so those should help with those drawdown efforts. But I think it's just a continuous effort of operating those pumps.
And those pumps cycle because they can't get the fluid in fast enough to them?
Yeah, I mean, they run off of, transducers or whatever that we have associated on the pump. So once it hits let's say a 3-foot level in the sump, she'll pump down to a 1-foot level. So she just cycles off of that.
Okay.
Simple.
Kind of, yeah. Yep, very similar.
Joe, green waste.
Green waste, you mean like it's the yard waste, trees,
Oh,
grass?
okay, that's what you're calling it. Okay. I just hadn't seen that term before.
And as long as we were talking about the leachate, the modern approach to landfill construction, they now put stone pads, for lack of a better term, like a pyramid of stone on top of where the planned pump location is. So there's more aggregate for the liquid to flow through, so it gets into the sump faster. The sumps that we're talking about are from previous cells where we didn't design it this way. The elevation of the stone is the same across the entire bottom. So it's got a slower conduit from waste to the blanket.
Any other questions, comments? Status of projects. Clay extraction. You doing any?
Well, we're doing on-site extraction, like Joe mentioned, and yeah, we're probably in that 40 to 50% completion number in terms of our goal of 1.7 million cubic yards of dirt to move. And those efforts have continued. The weather has been fairly good up until now. That's going to change in the next 24 hours. So I'm not sure what that will do for production, in the short term during the remaining month of January and into February. But, they'll continue to try to at least move some volume of dirt when they can. Becomes really more of a safety issue, at this point in time with moisture on the roads and those types of things. But if they can move dirt, they're going to move some dirt. We have kind of put a halt on any other third-party, construction activities back there in terms of taking off-site clay. There's just too much going on back there. And again, from a safety standpoint, we're not interested in having too many parties back there right now.
MMSD project.
Yeah, our gas delivery, I think, has been a little bit better the second half of the year compared to the first half of the year. It seems like we always end up right around that 80% number in terms of delivery to the district. So we continue to, schedule rebuilds of, motors and blowers and compressors and those types of things to maintain our efficiency. So I think we do a better job of scheduling those events and those activities. But when I was leaving, the flare was off and we were in full delivery to the district this evening. So, yep.
Oh, wow. Electronic recycling.
Yeah, the electronic recycling residential drop-off area slows down a little bit this time of year. And I think we've been able to maintain and keep it orderly. I brought it up before, but the second container for electronics has helped eliminate any overflow of those materials at the site. So I think it's status quo, pretty much status quo for those activities.
Residential drop-off.
Same thing. I think we're pretty much status quo there, keeping it orderly. Like I said, not quite as busy as during the summer months. So.
Well water testing for the well water protection area?
So 146 letters went out. We received 30 back that they were interested in the sampling program. Frank reconnected, Frank with ESC reconnected with a few other folks, so we were able to fulfill our 35 sampling events, so to speak. And the samples were taken and collected during the month of December. We expect to have the lab reports back by the end of January. ESC will review that data and those reports, and then the letters should go out by the middle of February.
Good.
Okay?
Plan modification issues.
Really, nothing new has gone into the department. Probably the biggest thing is, again, the feasibility addendum that was submitted back in the September-October timeframe. And I actually talked with the review engineer at DNR this morning, and it is still being under review by the department at this point in time. And she didn't really give me any idea on when we might see something. So still under review.
Property protection, sociological.
Regarding the sociological payments, so they were input into our system in the last week. The checks are scheduled to be cut by the 15th of January. So those that are receiving checks should see them, I would think, before the end of the month.
Okay. Property protection, how did last year end up?
Haven't seen anybody come in, so.
So last year was zero.
There were none.
Wow.
Yep. I know there is someone interested in selling on Old Loomis right now, but I told them they're welcome to exercise that option if they want to. The real estate agent expressed that the market was still pretty good, so he didn't think that there would be a need to do that, but I kind of laid out what the process is if they're interested in doing so.
Okay. Household hazardous waste.
All right. 2023 was another successful year for a hazardous collection program. The report that you have in front of you only includes January through November data, as Veolia hasn't yet closed out the year. And just be aware that this is still subject to internal audit and Veolia's audit to make sure the numbers are same. So it's subject to change. And just speaking candidly, I received a voicemail as I was walking in here from Veolia telling me that the total pounds on here, there's a typo. So just know that it's not quite accurate. But overall, big picture, I'll direct your attention just to the top of this report. Big picture, total participants remain pretty much unchanged from last year. We're only down 1.92%. And total costs will be landing the year right around what was spent last year, remaining just under budget. Anecdotally, I can share from a customer or resident perspective, I think the program's going really well. In my almost 10 years on the recycling team, this is the first year we haven't received a single email or phone complaint about the program. So in my book, that's a huge success. And I think in many ways we can just point our fingers to a successful education program around this offering. We advertise the program on Facebook, through PRs, at our outreach event. It's all over our calendars. And we communicate frequently with our communities about this offering. So I think people understand how it works and where the sites are. That being said, some other updates. While I was on maternity leave, the Waukesha County office received a notice from GFL informing us that the Muskego collection site will no longer be able to host collections in 2024, citing expanding business needs. So since I've returned from leave, I've been working with several communities to see if somebody else in the southeastern portion of the county could offer collections. Unfortunately, I haven't received much progress in that area. However, I've had a really promising phone call with the Franklin Landfill. So I have a meeting scheduled this week on site to see if we can move collections there, moving in 2024. And it would be my hope that we would just simply replace the exact collection schedule that was used in Muskego. So I'll be doing that with Veolia this week, and of course I will keep this committee informed as to what I learn and whether or not that's an opportunity for us in 2024. Any questions?
Doesn't that collection have to be in Muskego?
No.
That was the intent, but if you were to put it in Franklin, which is, basically right next door, we used to have it in Franklin, and we felt that it accommodated, Muskego. I'd have to go back and look at the exact wording on that to see. But
It's just across the street.
just across the street, I personally don't see an issue, but,
Across the street's fine, as long as it's not New Berlin
oh, no, that's,
or.
right. When you are under budget,
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
when you are under budget for the year,
When will I be?
I'm starting to say, when you are. Hey,
Sorry. When I am, I'm sorry.
when you are under budget, do you get to carry over those funds from the county for the next year?
We do not.
You do not. But yet you get the full bite from us.
I'm speaking incorrectly. We do get to carry that over. I believe last year we landed right at budget, so that wasn't an item for me. I apologize. This is my first year in this position. Budgeting's a little new to me. You are correct.
Okay,
I can follow up to be
Please.
certain. Yeah,
you're gonna have to dig into that because,
I understand what you're saying, and I'm fairly confident I just misspoke.
because from this end, from the committee's end,
Sure,
the chunk of money goes, period.
right.
Okay? And if all of a sudden we find out that, well, no, that county decide they'll just keep it,
Right,
not acceptable.
understood.
Okay? So, lots of digging.
Yep.
Is that it?
Yes.
Quickie for you, Dan. Any chance you won't tear down the old Briggs facility?
There's always a chance.
But slim and none, or?
Well, there's always potential uses being looked at for that area. But, our biggest concern right now is finding a home for
Yeah.
the excavated soil. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Okay. New business, we have none. Continuing business, nothing there. Under other business, you can review payments from committee funds. Those were attached to the report showing the status and the payments made. Confirm the next meeting date of April 8th, 2024. Any objections? Any issues with it? Citizen commentary? Chad? No?
Move to adjourn.
Pardon me?
Move to adjourn.
No, just one more item.
Okay.
Almost. Communications and any other business as authorized by law that can be handled that is not specifically on the agenda. Upon hearing none, I would be looking for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
A second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned at 5:35 PM.